Facebook friends, how are you? It's really strange to be doing this live Facebook. You don't see my face. I think you see the PowerPoint. At least that's what I hope. This is my first one, and I'm not quite exactly sure how this goes, but I'm believing that I'll learn as I go. Why am I on here? Yes, I'm asking myself the same question because I'll admit I'm very nervous right now, but that's to be natural. The Lord has shown me so many things in Bible study, personal Bible study, where I have been so blessed, and also experiences in my own life, trials, major trials that I've had, where He has revealed to me so much about His character and about my own character that I was blind to. And His character is so incredibly beautiful. We don't even realize how beautiful it is because we're not taught what it's like. You know, if you're like me and you were raised in the world and you were inundated with a lot of worldly influences from media, from music, from school, whatever it was, you get completely the wrong image of who God is and His loving character and the way that He wants us to act with one another. Is completely opposite of what we know and what we learn. So let's begin with a prayer. I can see a few friends have joined, and thank you for doing that. It's nice to see you. And okay, let's pray. Our Father in heaven, I thank you so much for this opportunity to be here to share what you have placed on my heart. I hope it's a blessing to others. I know that personal testimonies have such a power to them that can really help people. I know that personal testimonies have really been a blessing to me. And you have done so much in my life, and I just want the world to know. I want people to know that it is possible. I know how wretched I was, and I know how weak I have been. And I want people to know that you have an incredible power, miracle working power to help us to overcome. We need your Holy Spirit now. So please help and touch me now. Help me with my words to be able to share and touch the hearts of those that will listen to this. That if this message is for them, that it will help to inspire them to want to draw closer to you and to incorporate these principles into their own lives. And we thank you, we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen. So, hi, Carrie. It's nice to see you too. Wow. Okay. In Proverbs 19:11, it says, "The discretion of a man defers his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression." Now, these are Bible verses that God has whispered to my mind, that He has brought to my attention, especially when I have been struggling with something, where I have been struggling with being Christ-like toward people in my life when they have been unchristlike toward me. Because the greatest and most beautiful glory of God, the most amazing aspect of His character, is the way that He treated His enemies. And that is something that I believe we struggle with the most, besides addictions, you know, like appetite or drugs or whatever else it may be. I've also been there. And so, but when we see God's glory, His character, and the way that He deals with His enemies, it's incredible. I mean, it's amazing to serve a God like this. And it's different, like I said, from everything that I know. And it completely eludes me. But I want this. When I see it, I'm so attracted to it. And I say, Lord, I want this. I want to know how I can be like this toward people when I don't like the way they say something to me. I don't like the way their facial expression. I don't like their body movement. Whatever it is that we don't like, I want to be able to act the way that you would have me to act, the way that you act. And we get the experience in our everyday life. For me, I'm a stay-at-home mom. My husband is able to come home for lunch, so I see him a lot in the morning, at lunch, in the evening, on the weekends. My child I see a lot. So this is my workplace. So these are my coworkers. So these are the ones that I interact with on a daily basis. And I get the experience of learning how to be like Jesus when I don't like something the way that they've said it, or what they've done. And too many times I have reacted unchristlike. And that's the thing. It's easy to act like Jesus when nothing is being done that we don't like. But it's so hard to react like Jesus towards something that we don't like. And so if you are in the workforce, you have coworkers, bosses, I'm sure you experience the same thing. That you don't like the way they speak to you, you don't like the way they're acting, they're accusing you of something that you haven't done. And I'm sure it doesn't feel good. I know it doesn't feel good. But how does the Lord want us to act? He has a beautiful truth in His Word, in the Bible. And so let's do a little Bible study. I like to use Blue Letter Bible app. I don't know if you have heard of it or seen it. I don't know how to be able to show it to you on here, but you can get it on your phone, and it's BLB is the icon, and it's has a blue screen with a white Bible open, and in that you can really dissect Bible verses. I love dissecting Bible verses. Now, I was not good at studying in school, and it took me a long time to really learn how to study the Bible and appreciate it, because I had in this mind, I don't like studying. So it wasn't until really within the last few years that I really learned to study the Bible and really appreciate it and really see how beautiful it is. And it's so full of gems. So, so if you're like me and you don't like studying, don't lose hope, because there is hope. There's hope for everything that we struggle with. I am here to testify of that. Let me tell you. So this is the way that I like to study the Bible, is I use this Blue Letter Bible app, because I can look up the Hebrew and Greek meaning. I can look at really good commentaries, which one of them is Matthew Henry. I don't know if you've heard of him, but that man has incredible things to say about the Bible. You can look at the different Bible translations, and what was the other thing that I've seen on there? I can't remember, but at any rate, this is what I really like to use. So we are looking at this verse in Proverbs 19:11, and I'll go back. I think I had a thought that I was sharing and I went off track, but God has whispered this verse, well, not this particular verse, but another one, actually, where it talks about love covers a multitude of sins. He's whispered that verse to me. I didn't like it at first because I was struggling with a person or maybe some people, and I didn't want to pass over their sins against me. I wanted to linger there and stay upon it, and keep those harboring in my heart, and not get over it. But He's really good at continuing to whisper these messages to your mind, and He's very gentle about it. And finally I said, okay, I need to take these verses inside of my heart. So I decided to do a study on them, and this was one that He brought to me, the one that we have here. And so when you look up the word discretion in this verse in the Hebrew, you get prudence, insight, understanding, good sense, wisdom, knowledge, and intelligence. So we can take these words and substitute them for the word discretion. So it's the prudence of a man, the insight of a man, the understanding of a man, the good sense, the wisdom, the knowledge, the intelligence of a man to defer his anger. Now, the other thing I like to do, if I don't really clearly understand what a word means, I might use it, but I don't, you know how if your child were to ask you, what does this word mean, but you don't really know how to break it down in simple language, you just know how to use it in a sentence. So I really like using the dictionary. So when you go online and look up in the dictionary what the word defer means, it means the quality of behaving or speaking in such a way as to avoid causing offense or revealing private information. Now that one really hit me because that is something I struggle with, especially when someone has offended me. I usually want to find someone, a sympathizer, that I can share with that person what that person has, the one that I don't like what they've done. I can share. Wow, I'm really amazed to see the people that have joined. So I can go. Thank you for joining, by the way. It's really good to see you all's names. So I can, yes, I find a sympathizer. With someone who has offended me, I will go and find a sympathizer so that I can reveal what they've done to me. So I can start revealing private information. Now, the Lord has shown to me that this is not right because the person that I'm revealing this to, I am taking away their right to form their own judgments in their minds for that person. I am implanting my judgment into their mind about that person. And that in a sense is that's like stealing. I don't know what else to call it, but you're stealing that person's right to form their own judgment because they might not have that issue with that person. They might be completely fine with that person and they might have a good relationship. But here I am over there trying to sabotage the way that they view this person because I don't like what they've done to me. So that's one thing that the Lord has shown to me that we really need, well, I really need to overcome, revealing private information about someone else, especially when they've done something to offend me. I need to keep it quiet, and I just need to take it to the Lord. Now, if you know someone that is a good friend, and you know that you can trust them, and you really need help in a situation about what someone has done to you, I can understand that some way, somehow, maybe you can share it in a way that where you could get assistance from this person. But be very careful. Be very careful that you're not doing it in a way that you're speaking negatively because, see, this person is not a part of the situation, so they don't know everything that's going on. You know, they can't really make a wise judgment about it. So maybe you can do it in a way that you protect that person's privacy where you're not revealing their name or too much, but you're just saying, you know, I have this issue with this person. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I'm wondering if you could give me some advice of how to deal with it. So, you know, I can understand that. But at any rate, we should not be looking for sympathizers because then we're not learning. We need to learn in a situation with people when they're offending us. What is it about ourselves that we have to learn, that we need to overcome? Okay, so now the synonyms of the word deference, when you look up the definition, are carefulness, care, caution, tact, diplomacy, delicacy, sensitivity, consideration, judiciousness, and judgment. I really love these words because it really reveals to me the character of God. I mean, it's incredible. Completely opposite of how we act, right? He is so careful and respectful towards someone else. Especially, and you can see I have it written here, he's very respectful, very sensitive, very considerate to people, especially those who mistreat him. And when I was struggling with people who I thought were mistreating me, the Lord would whisper to me that, and I would say it like this. He would impress me with a thought, and I would be like, you know, the Lord's really respectful toward these people, and I'm not understanding this. I'm not grasping this. And I'm being very disrespectful toward these people because I don't like the way they're treating me. But I'm missing the fact that he is actually very respectful toward them. And he takes them where they are. He understands their background, how they were raised, what did they have to deal with. You know, he understands all of the struggles that they've been through, why they are behaving the way they are right now. So he takes that all into consideration. And not only does he do that for them, but he does that for us. So we have to realize that he is no respecter of persons, and that just because they're acting that way, he doesn't feel the way we feel toward them. We're like, we don't like this person, and we want the Lord to not like this person. And the Lord's going, no, I love this person, and I have a lot of respect for them. And I saw them as a child, what they went through. I saw them in their youth years or in their teen years, and I have seen everything they have gone through. And so I know why they are acting this way, and they need help. So that's another point. That's another study. He needs us to help him, to help that person so that they can overcome. But the only way that they can overcome is the power of love. So he needs us to develop that kind of love so that we can respond to the way their negative behavior with love. Because it's only in love that they can change and that they can see what they're doing, right? A soft answer turns away wrath, right? Okay. So, diplomacy, yeah? We think politics when we're thinking of diplomacy, and we might not have the best image of politics, but you know what? We can just think of the Lord's government. I tell you, his government, his kingdom is incredible. It's beautiful. There's no problems in his government, no problems in politics with the Lord's government. So he's very tactful. The way that these politicians go back and forth with one another, really trying to reveal the deepest, darkest sins of their lives, that's not the way the Lord is, and I'm so thankful. But at any rate, we're to pray for our leaders, and God can work on their hearts. So he's also very delicate. I love that so much because I like it when people are delicate with me. And I feel bad because I know too many times I have not been delicate with people. I have not been delicate with my daughter or with my husband as I should have been. And so many times when I'm outside and I'm feeling the wind upon my cheeks, I say, Lord, this is how gentle you are, because the wind is very gentle when it touches our cheeks. Now it can get really um, um, fierce in a storm, but I'm talking about that gentle wind. When that breeze comes, I close my eyes and I think of the gentleness of the Lord. He's just so beautiful. And so I see these words, I get these images, sensitivity, considerate, and I'm like, Lord, this is what I want. I want this in my character. And I am not having it when I need to have it, especially with my daughter and my husband, and with people, friends that I have had struggles with. So, and judgment, I really like that one too, because when we think of judgment, we think of like, the plagues from Revelation, the judgment of God and all these weather catastrophes that are happening right now. But we fail to realize that the judgment of God is actually very beautiful. He's very wise in the way that he deals with his people. He's very wise in the way that he deals with his enemies. Look at how Jesus was before Pilate, before Caiaphas and before the Pharisees and the scribes, and words are coming out of my mind because right now it's like intense, so I can't think of the exact words. But at any rate, the way that he dealt with the people, his judgment is beautiful. He knows how to have tact. He knows how to have self-control. He knows how to judge them according to their hearts, what they need to hear, what they need to help them to change. That's the kind of incredible judgment that he has. And we don't, I say we, and I'm talking about myself. I don't know if you struggle with it, but I say we because I think, a lot of us do struggle with it, but most of us don't have that kind of tactful judgment toward people, especially when they're mistreating us. So we can go on to the next slide. I don't know how to see your comments. I'm not sure if I'm missing your comments, if anybody makes any comments, but at any rate, like I said, this is my first time, so I'm learning as I go. Okay. Yes. Now, the word defer, the discretion of a man defers his anger. That's the other thing that it has on the Blue Letter Bible app. It has a lexicon, and that's also very wonderful to use because it also gives you the other verses in the Bible that you can look up that either has the same word or a different word that means the same thing. And then you will put a beautiful picture together of this one verse, and you see its beauty, the strand of it threading through other parts of the Bible. And it's really wonderful to study the Bible this way and to just unravel the character of God, scripture by scripture. So defer in the lexicon, to be long, to prolong. And so I was sharing this in Sabbath school superintendent remarks this morning. So I said, okay, what fruit of the Spirit does that make you think of? to belong, prolong. It's in the King James version. It refers to long suffering, right? So I said you have to take those O's and make them a lot of O's. Prolong, right? And so I said, there are times with my husband that I have maybe a fourth of an O. And so, yeah, we have our mercy. We have to, the anger, we have to put it off. We have to prolong our mercy because he prolongs his mercy with us. What does it say about his mercy every morning? It's renewed every morning, right? So we have to lengthen that deference of anger. We have to let it tarry. I mean, basically, just don't let it rise up. But that can only happen by the power of God. We have to postpone that anger. We have to put it on hold. It has to stay where it is, right? You tell the dog, stay. We have to put it on the back burner. Like, basically, it just goes back there and we forget about it. That's not easy, I know. Like I said, it's only going to take the power of God, and it's going to take failing and getting back up and failing and getting back up. But eventually, his miracle working power starts changing you. It's incredible. I don't know how it happens, but it's incredible. So you submit humbly to, this is still, we're on defer. You yield, you surrender, you bow. Whoa, right? You capitulate, comply, agree with, respect, honor. So this is you're deferring anger. So this is when you're in front of somebody and they are speaking to you and you don't like it in a way that you don't like, right? So the Lord is telling us we need to submit humbly to yield, to surrender, bow. Like the Asian culture, they bow. I don't know if they bow to their enemies. I know that maybe they do, but I know that they bow to just people in general. So does that mean weakness? No, because what is that verse in the Bible that talks about the person that has control over his anger is stronger than a person with an army of horses or something like that? I have to look that up. Now think about Jesus before Pilate. At that moment, he was humble, was he not? He was submissive, but not in a weak way. He was very respectful toward him. To Caiaphas, very respectful. But there is still a spiritual power about him that came from God above because he was in human flesh, right? So this is that's why it's really good to study the life of Christ in the Bible. Study the Gospels, study Isaiah 53. I think it's Psalm 25 also that talks about him where he plucked his beard and they spit on him. When we study these things and we study how he was, Brother Raymond, you're on here too. Can't believe it. So at any rate, when we study, thank you, Brother Raymond. It's good to see you. So when we study the life of Christ, then we can know how he was before his enemies. And so that we can see that submitting and yielding and being humble is not a weakness. Actually, it's a strength. And we're taught the opposite of that, right? We're really taught the opposite of that. We're taught to fight. We're taught to defend ourselves, to fight back. But what does that really do? It actually makes things worse. Did Jesus defend himself and fight back? What did he say when he had just finished in Gethsemane and those throng of that mob that came to him and they had their swords? He said, I could have a legion of angels come right now. But he chose not to. He chose to stand there and to take it. And that's true strength. He chose not to fight, right? Peter took that sword and he chopped off the ear of the soldier. And Jesus said to him, you don't know what my kingdom is about. That's not what I'm here for. That's not who I am. That's not the message I'm trying to bring. And he healed that man's ear. I wonder if that man was able to give his heart to Jesus. We don't know. We don't know anything about him, but it's very possible. So, okay, you have the word honor and when it comes to defer. So the other thing that's really nice when you're doing Bible studies like this is verses that you already know God can bring to your mind. And so when I saw the word honor, he brought to my mind the verse Romans 12:10. Be kindly affection one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another. And that was actually Samantha's first memory verse that she ever memorized. And I think she was about 5. And I was so excited to see that the child can memorize the verse. So, okay. When I looked up that word from Romans 12:10, when I looked up the word honor in the Hebrew, I thought that was so neat because it's connected to this other verse. The word prefer in Hebrew means to show deference. Now, when you look up the word deference in the dictionary, it means humble submission and respect. So you can see the beautiful thread of connection and the puzzle pieces that the Bible makes, that we can get a full image of God's incredible character. And when we behold it, we become changed, right? So this is what happens when we're studying the Bible. Now, there was here the word capitulate for defer, and I wanted to look that word up as well because I know the word, but I don't really know the meaning of it. So the definition of it is cease to resist an opponent. Wow. Is that hard for us to do or what? Like I said, we want to fight back. But Jesus is telling us that we need to cease to resist. You know what that makes me think of? The lamb, right? The lamb did not try to resist when he was led to the slaughter. What does it say in Isaiah 53? As a lamb that was led to the slaughter. Does it say he fought? Does it say he kicked? Does it say he screamed? Does it say he bit? No. He was led willingly to the slaughter, and he opened not his mouth. And I know that is the hardest thing, I know for me to do. And I've had too many times where I have failed with my husband, and I opened my mouth to him when I should not have, or to people that I have interacted with on the outside of my home, and even to my daughter, because we want to put people in their place, right? We think they're trying to put us in our place, and we're like, we want to put you back in your place. And we want to do that Z formation, right? That's what we learned. Snap that finger. Especially because of the fact that the main kind of music that I listened to growing up was rap and hip hop and R&B, and that world is all about trying to put people back in their places. So I really have that angry man, the angry woman inside of me that I have to learn to overcome. But with the power of God, it's possible because He has been helping me to have the victory here in my home. And I'm so thankful for it. I still struggle, but He's helping me. So I've been talking already now for 20 minutes. I have more. I don't know if I should go on. Okay. Even Donnie. Hi, Donnie. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Nice to have you on here. A friend from school. It's so precious. All right. Now, we saw the word agree. Where did we see the word agree? I think it was here. Okay. And defer. So remember, let's go back. Proverbs 19:11, for those of you who are wondering, the discretion of a man defers his anger. My sister Whitney, it's good to see you. That's actually my blood sister, by the way, everybody. And it is his glory to pass over a discretion. So, defer. We see here, agree with. Now, when I saw the word agree with, it made me think of this verse. Oh, down here. Matthew 5:25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. So when you look up the word agree in the Hebrew, everybody that has joined, I like to use the Blue Letter Bible app to look up the Hebrew and Greek meaning of words. And I like to also use the dictionary. Okay, agree in the Hebrew is to be thou. Be. Give thyself wholly to. Now I thought to myself, okay, what is this? This be thou. And I was trying to think, what kind of deeper meaning is this? So I went ahead and I actually looked up this simple word, the definition, And it's to exist, right? That's not the only definition, but that's the one that I picked out. And synonyms are occur, happen, take place, come about. So I'm there and I'm thinking, this is early in the morning because I like to have my studies early in the morning with the Lord before my day begins, before my daughter wakes up. It's really a blessing, and it just sets the whole day for me. So I'm just closing my eyes, I'm meditating, I'm asking the Lord, what is this? What is in this with this word agree and be? And I started thinking about Jesus. And I started thinking about him, okay, before Pilate. And so to continue with the word, hi, Brother Timo. So to continue with the word be, the definition, it's used with a past particle. I'm studying right now, doing homeschool with Samantha, and I'm so glad to be going over these terms again, like particle and present particle and progressive tense. I mean, I still don't really have it all down, but at any rate, I try. I glean the simple things from this. So what I gleaned from this was, okay, use with a past particle to form the passive mood. It was done. Now, what came to my mind, I'll share that with you later about it was done. I thought of someone who said something very similar, and maybe you're already thinking who it is. And so the other definition of be is used with the present particle of another verb to form the progressive tense. That's a mouthful. I am waiting. So are there some verses in the Bible you can think about the word wait? Okay. And here's one I have already for you, Psalms 27:14. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. And so, okay, it was done. Going back to that. So who I thought of was Jesus on the cross, and he said, it is finished, right? And so this word be, I started thinking about Jesus and how he was before Pilate. And he was just being. He was just existing. Nothing else, with the power of God, of course. And he was doing nothing. He was not trying to defend himself. He was not trying to do anything to excuse himself out of that situation. He was just being. He was just existing. So he was just agreeing. So think of him when he's there and the soldiers are surrounding him and the crown of thorns are placed upon his head, and they pluck the hair from his head, his beard. They pluck the hair from his beard. They spit on his face. They say the worst things that you could ever imagine to be said to the most beautiful being ever to live. And all he's doing is just being. He's just existing. He's just living. He's just agreeing. And he's doing nothing else. Nothing else except to be. To be who? The Son of God. And he only did that by the power of the Father. And that's what he can do for us. If we stand there and someone is hurling the most terrible denunciations upon us, the most terrible accusations, if they're saying something to us and we don't like it, we don't like how they're saying it to us, we don't like that our reputation is on the line, we don't like that our reputation is being smeared, we don't like the way they're treating us, we don't like the tone of their voice, we don't like the look on their face. How are we to act? You know, the power of God can come upon us the way that it came upon Jesus. And we can just be. We can just exist. We can just live. And we can just let it come upon us. But who is protecting us at that moment if we are yielding? Remember what we saw with the word defer? Yield, submit, bow humbly to. As we're doing that, what is happening? There's a shield that comes over us. And those darts cannot penetrate and do anything to us. They don't have to hurt us. They don't have to cause us to get angry. We can just be there and just exist and let it happen. I want that kind of power, my friends. I want to be able to experience that in my everyday life with my husband, with my daughter, when they say things that I don't like, when they do things that I don't like. And I'm just there. But you know, it's just more than just being and existing. It's a whole lot more. It's actually your heart is changed so that instead of having resentment toward them or anger or any of those negative feelings, instead it's filled with love. And that's what Jesus had as he was standing there and just existing, just being, just living, and allowing all that abuse to come upon him. Excruciating, painful abuse as his back was lacerated and the skin was ripped open and he just was being and he was just existing and he did nothing. He didn't fight. But at the same time, his heart was filled with love. Love for the person that was lacerating his back. Love for the person that placed a crown of thorns on his head. Love for the person that spit on his face. And that said terrible things to him about his character, which were completely not true. That I'm yearning for, I'm longing for, I pray for it. I hate it when I don't have it and I act out of Christ and I open my mouth when I shouldn't open my mouth. And feelings rise up inside of me that take control of me. But I'm still hoping in God, right? Hope thou in God, for I shall yet praise him. And hope makes not ashamed, right? When the love of God is spread abroad in our hearts. So he is going to finish that good work which he started in us. So basically, Jesus allowed this to occur. The definition of we see the synonym of be to occur. He allowed it to occur. He allowed the cross to occur. He allowed Gethsemane, the time with the Roman soldiers when they abused him, the time when they lacerated his back. He allowed it to happen. He allowed it to take place. He allowed it to come about. So any kind of abuse we can allow to happen. Of course, we don't want to put ourselves in that situation. I know that there's times when maybe we have put ourselves unnecessarily in a situation. We have to be careful. But at any rate, I'm talking more about when people that we work closely with are our husbands. And I'm not talking about physical abuse from husbands or partners, whatever. That's a completely different subject. That's something else that we would have to maybe talk privately about. But at any rate, I'm just talking about in general. I think you're getting what I'm saying. So we can see Isaiah 50, verses 6 through 7, and it talks about Jesus. I gave my back to the smiters, and my cheeks to them that plucked off the hair. I hid not my face from shame and spitting. And why? Why was he able to do this? Why was he able to willingly give his back to the smiters and his cheeks to them that plucked off the hair and hide not his face from shame and spitting? Why was he able to just be, to just live and exist and allow it to happen? Because he had this. He had this since he was a boy. This was taught to him. This was his experience every day of his life from when he grew up. And all of you that maybe don't know about this book, I highly recommend the book Desire of Ages. It's an incredible book. And it's a beautiful Bible study with the Gospels that will give you incredible insight into the life of Christ and what he went through, even as a boy. And so he was able on a day-to-day experience with the people that he interacted with, even his own brothers and his friends. He was able to make This experience, this is what helped him to be able to endure what he went through when he became a man, what he endured for us. For the Lord God will help me, therefore shall I not be confounded. Therefore have I set my face like a flint, and I know that I shall not be ashamed. So he was able to learn to wait upon the Lord and be of good courage, for he shall strengthen thine heart. Because that was the other one that we saw. Wait, where was it? Let's see. The B definition. Used with the present particle of another verb to form the progressive tense. That's fun to say. I am waiting. Yeah? He was able to just be, to live, exist, to wait on the Lord. And he didn't have to be confounded because he trusted in his God. He had already had enough experience with him. And he knew he could trust his Lord. He knew that he would not be ashamed. He saw the travail of his soul, and he was satisfied. I love Isaiah 53. I highly recommend doing a verse-by-verse study on that chapter, using some kind of Hebrew help, Hebrew definition, lexicon, and doing it during times of prayer and meditating on that and seeing what Jesus went through for you. Wow, you will have an incredible experience. I did. I had an incredible experience. It helped me to see myself for who I am. I had the deepest times of repentance that I've ever had in my life. Okay, I don't know if I should go on. We have new people that have joined, but maybe, okay. So if we look up here, for those that did join, we're looking at the verse, Proverbs 19:11. The discretion of a man defers his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression. Tina B, it's good to see you, my dear friend. All right, so the discretion. We see here wisdom, knowledge, and intelligence. I have been really enjoying looking up Bible verses on wisdom and knowledge. And so when you go down here, I have some verses on knowledge that I looked up. And it says in Proverbs 1:7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction, right? That's a pretty, I think, well-known verse. What is the fear of the Lord? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 2:3, yea, if thou cries after knowledge and lifts up thy voice for understanding. Now, what is this knowledge? That's the thing. What is this knowledge that he's really talking about? Okay, Proverbs 5:2, that thou may regard, what's this word? Did we see it before? Discretion. What does discretion mean again? Let's go back and look at it, because even I need to look at it again. Okay, discretion. So if thou regard discretion, which is prudence, insight, understanding, good sense, wisdom, knowledge, intelligence, and remember the definition of discretion, the quality of behaving or speaking in such a way as to avoid causing offense or revealing private information. Synonyms: carefulness, care, caution, tact, diplomacy, delicacy, sensitivity, consideration, judiciousness, and judgment. For those of you who have just joined, we'll look at this again. God is very respectful, sensitive, considerate to people, especially to those who mistreat him. I believe that his love grows even stronger toward them as they're mistreating him. Now that's an incredible power. I'm almost done, my love. I have to get done soon because my daughter, I need to go on a walk with her. All right. So we can regard discretion. We can regard delicacy and sensitivity, and we can regard being respectful of others and not talking about them, especially when they've done wrong to us, not finding sympathizers. We keep it to ourselves. We go to God. Or like I said, if we need some advice, We could ask someone that we really trust, but we do not reveal the name of that person or details that could possibly reveal that name. And we say, we need some help knowing how to deal with this situation. Okay, Proverbs 8:10. Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. Hi, Anna Marika. So, instruction and knowledge they're priceless, because he's saying, don't worry about silver, don't worry about gold. You need to worry about instruction and knowledge. For wisdom is better than rubies, in Proverbs 8:11, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. Beautiful. Now, rubies are beautiful, but wisdom is even more beautiful. But what kind of wisdom is that? Psalm 19:7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. Now, let me tell you something. I'm a very simple-minded person. I really am. Yay, so the comments are working. I can see that. I flunked college. Now, that's because I partied too much. So, but at any rate, I don't have like the greatest understanding of scientific things. In fact, I really don't like studying science. It was not my favorite subject. So I'm very thankful that the Bible can speak to the simple in heart and they can understand it. And so you can understand it as well, because I know how simple-minded I am. But when I look at the Bible like this and I study it like this simple-minded person can understand it. And I'm very thankful to the Lord for that. So there is a wisdom that is better than rubies. Now, is that the wisdom that we get when we go to college or when we have degrees? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, because there's nothing wrong with having that kind of knowledge, because the Lord can use it to help others. But there is a wisdom that he's talking about to make wise even the simple-minded like me, this puny little mind, that when I'm looking at my husband and he's trying to explain to me anatomy and physiology, or the way when he fixes the car and he wants to explain to me everything he did, I just look at him and I'm praying and I'm like, Lord, help me, that I am looking very interested right now, because it's very difficult for me to understand what he's saying. And he knows that I'm like that. So, but at any rate, I expect him to hear me talk about all the things that are happening now on UG Pines campus, which for his mind, he's just like, okay, that does not really have much value. So, yes, praise the Lord. We help each other out. Okay, to go back to this. So the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. So what is this wisdom and what is this knowledge? I, wisdom, dwell with prudence. Did we not see the word prudence come up here again? Let's see. There it is, discretion. Another word for discretion in the Hebrew is prudence. So wisdom dwells with prudence. That is so beautiful. I love it. I need to look up the definition in the dictionary of prudence. Okay, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge of witty inventions. That's pretty interesting. Okay, there we have the word wisdom, prudence, and knowledge in there, and witty inventions. I'm not quite sure what the witty inventions mean. That would be another study. Okay, now this I loved, Proverbs 8:13, because here is the definition of the fear of the Lord. Is it to shake in your boots and be afraid of God? There's a time for that when we are doing completely wrong and we are separated from God. We can have some healthy fear that we need to come back to Him so that we don't experience bad things in our lives. Not that He would bring it, but that it would be allowed because we don't have His protection anymore. And also if it continues, into the time when the judgments are going to come, we don't want that to happen. So there's a healthy fear. But I really love this definition in the Bible of the fear of the Lord. And what is it? And it goes along with what we're studying. To hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. Pride arrogancy, froward mouth, which he's calling evil, is completely opposite of this verse here. The discretion of a man defers his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression. When we don't defer our anger, we have pride, and we have a froward mouth. When we're not passing over someone's transgression against us, and we're just thinking and thinking and thinking about it, then all we have are negative thoughts toward these people, toward the people that did it to us. We have pride and arrogancy. Now this is true fear. And what did God say that fear is? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So what is God's knowledge? What is his wisdom? I love it. Basically, it is his character. And we can see here, the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The law is a transcript of his character. It's a law of love. It's a law that deals with him and that deals with man. And it deals how we should treat the Lord and how we should treat man. God is very humble. He's very lowly and meek in heart. Now, he's an incredible God. Everything that he made, the stars in the heavens, the worlds, his power, he has every reason to be proud and arrogant, but he's not. Is that not incredible? Man, we serve an incredible God. But yet here we are, puny humans. What have we made? What have we made except just a bunch of mess and hurting other people's, we've made other people sad and angry. What have we made, but yet we think we can be proud and arrogant? Oh man, I tell you. So at any rate, this is true wisdom. This is true knowledge. When we study his character and we find out who he is and the way that he deals with people on an everyday basis, especially those who mistreat him, he has incredible wisdom in how he interacts with them and how he treats them. Like I said before, he has incredible knowledge. He considers their entire life, why they are acting the way they're acting. Because some way, somehow, they were taught the wrong way when they were young. That's the one thing I love. I love hearing testimonies, especially about people that I'm struggling to be judgmental toward or struggling to criticize. Because when I hear the testimony of their life, I say, no wonder they act the way they act. And it makes me say, forgive me, Lord. I should not have been doing that to them or feeling that way toward them, because now I see the reason why they acted that way. And so I need to be more merciful to them, more compassionate toward them, right? We expect others to treat us the same. That's the thing. When we're angry at someone, we are not seeing ourselves. When we're angry at someone, when we're upset at them, when we're judging their character, we don't like the way they've acted, we are so blinded to our own faults. At that moment, we are thinking that we are the cream of the crop, that we have nothing wrong with us and it's only them. We are so blind. And that's why we need this wisdom and this knowledge to illuminate our hearts, to realize who we are and our defects. That's why we have to study Isaiah 53 and a Desire of Ages in the Gospels, to get this wisdom and knowledge, to shine the light into our hearts so we can see our true condition. Because we are so wicked and we don't realize it. I am so wicked and I don't realize it. So my favorite Bible verse, actually, that I love, I'm almost done, my love, is Matthew. I can't remember exactly. Is it 28? But it's, come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your soul. Are you struggling to find rest? You know, I'm going to share a little testimony. There was a time that I was really struggling. I was really struggling with depression. I was really struggling with exhaustion. And I remember after struggling with that exhaustion for a while, just barely able to function, barely able to move around my house, barely able to do anything. And I was wondering, why? Why do I feel this way, Lord? And there was one night that I knelt down and I really prayed and I cried. Why do I feel this way, Lord? I don't understand it. And you know what he said to me? It was finally the right time for me to receive it. That's why he was able to share it with me that night. He said, you have too much pride and it's weighing you down. And it's this pack on your back that exhausts you. You get offended too easily. You get offended at your husband, your daughter, too easily. And so if you want true rest, learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart. Meaning that Jesus does not get offended by all the little things that we do to him, and we're doing it constantly to him. He doesn't even get offended by the most evil person that raises their fist in his face and says the worst accusations against him. He looks at them with more love and he says, oh, my child, if only you knew who I truly am. It's because the image of my character has been marred. He says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It's incredible. So, my friends, if you want true rest, if you want knowledge, if you want wisdom, let's go to Jesus. Let's learn of him so we can become meek and lowly like him. So we can have the fruits of the Spirit, long suffering, gentleness, patience, right? Goodness. 1 Corinthians 13, love. You know, I memorized that. I got to go back and memorize it again. And I've done a Bible study on that one too. That's an incredible one to do a Bible study on. We have to remember these principles. And that's how we can have jewels, the most amazing jewels. Better than the rings that we wear on our finger. Better than what we wear on our wrist, our necks, and our noses, our belly buttons, everywhere. I've had all of those. I praise God I don't have them anymore. And I'm so thankful that instead he's given me these kind of jewels that I want to wear on my heart. And I want people to see these jewels. I don't want them to see the outward jewels. No, I want them to see these ones. Thank you, my friends, for tuning in and listening. I was really nervous. This is the first one I've ever done. And today the Lord really impressed me that I needed to share. I don't know, maybe someone out there needed this message. But by God's grace, I'll be back, I guess, with something else. I don't know. I'll pray. Pray for me because I also struggle. I don't want undue attention in any way. You know, Jesus was not affected by applause. He was not affected by people throwing tomatoes at him, so to speak. None of that affected him. And I want to be the same way. I really want to do this because I want to help someone. As God has helped me, I want to share the beauty of his word, the beauty of his character that he has shown to me, that I'm longing to have in myself. So each of you that I see, your names are on here. I've had experiences with you. You're very precious to me. Some of you I don't know. Nice to see you on here as well. Thank you for joining. And here for you. Let me know if you have any prayer requests or if you want to talk. Love you all. God bless you and happy Sabbath.